right, it is 10:05 here Pacific Standard Time, and I'd like to welcome everybody to the K2 Systems Base Design webinar for CrossRail Tilt Up. I am Nick Pack. Thank you for coming today. We appreciate you making time in your schedule today. I did say earlier that this is being hosted on Zoom. If you haven't used Zoom before, we enjoy using this platform a lot. There is a chat feature if you have questions or if you're having any difficulty logging in. You can go ahead up on the upper left-hand side. There's a little chat icon for saying hello to us or asking questions. We're going to go over a brief presentation, introduction to our team, and then of course right over to our design platform base, which has been updated to have a feature of designing a tilt-up system. I just wanted to get a chance to introduce our entire team. First things first, I'd like to thank Dakota. She's our marketing manager. She organizes all of our media and information out there. Dakota Loom, thank you for making these possible for us. She'll also be taking in some questions for us, so some of the technical sales reps will be able to have a chance to answer them for you. I also wanted to get a chance to introduce Miguel Ortiz. He's with our K2 Mexico team. If you're there, can you say hi real quick, Miguel?
Thank you, Nick. Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar. I want to invite you to the webinar 24th September. It's in Spanish. We will be there too, showing the new updates from base. Welcome.
Miguel, thank you. Yeah, Miguel also does a lot of critiquing on the technical side of our base tool, making sure a lot of the modules inside of the system actually work as far as design and as far as features and the way that the tool actually performs. So thank you for all your support with that, Miguel. We also have two special guests today. We have two of our technical sales reps. We have Luz Rajano. If you have a chance to say hi real quick, Luz.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Luz. I'm in the technical sales area. I support West Coast customers. So I've been with the company for about 2 years. So feel free to contact me, call or email me if you have any questions about projects or of the product. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Luz. And also working on Luz's team is Brendan Dooley. He's a newer addition to our team, and we're thankful that he was had the chance to start working with us. He's been here a year now. Brendan?
I've been here for about 9 or 10 months. Howdy y'all, Brendan Dooley. I'm happy to help you with any questions that you have about the system, how it works, or laying it out. Feel free to call me anytime.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brandon. Last but not least, I'm Nick Pack. I'll be hosting the webinar today. I have a couple of demonstration pieces of the CrossRail Tilt system here for you guys, but let's go ahead and get started with the agenda today. So rolling on here, let me just get, so our agenda today, just quick introduction to the team. I think we already got that going. A quick little background on K2 Systems, where we have been and where we're going. And then we'll go ahead and go into the CrossRail Tilt system and just a refresh on the CrossRail product line as well. And then right from there, we'll be able to jump to our website, log into our base design tool, design a system from scratch, and then show you guys some of the features that have been added to base, which will help you guys with your projects if you're doing tilt on flat roof in the future. From that, we'll be able to show you some of the features that are also built into the API bridges of the base design tool, which is called K2 Plus. We will export our design from our tool and push it over to any of the inverter designers that are on our menu. We host 5 API bridges with 5 different inverter manufacturers. Then after that, we'll be able to take in all of your questions here on the chat and then go over each question. And if you do have any questions in Spanish, Miguel will be able to answer them as well. So let's go ahead and get started here. Just a quick background on K2 Systems. I'm sure all of you have seen our Everest t-shirts in the past and our K2 Systems shirts now. Just to be completely clear, we've always been K2 Systems. We were just able to get the trademark for our name back in our hands in 2020 and 2021. So founded in 2004 in Germany. We've been engineering systems in Germany for the international market. So if you have projects across the world, our systems have most likely been deployed to those existing projects out there. 2012, the US division of K2, which is Everest Solar Systems at the time, was started. I actually onboarded onto the team in 2019 as an Everest employee, and then when we got our trademark back for our name as K2, we were able to transition all of the trademarking and business over to K2 Systems. Just so everybody understands, we've always really been K2, and of course, 2015, our Mexico division actually was fired up there. So we are an international racking and clean energy solutions company. So let's go ahead and just drive right into the product line, because we want to make sure we have time for the actual design process so you guys can see the updates to base. Oh, real quick refresher on our product line. We offer 4 different profiles of racking equipment. We have our lightest duty rail that is still very robust, which is our latest release, which is the CrossRail 44. You can see that on the in the middle left right there. That's actually our shortest profile. A lot of people ask us about these numbers here, like what do these numbers delineate? These numbers actually delineate the actual height of the rail itself. So we have the 44, which is the rail I actually have behind me today. It's a little bit lower profile rail, and it is the same, it has the same performance as the 48X. As you've seen in the past, we've just been able to shorten the rail down, and you can still get the same 6-foot spans. You can also deploy this rail to these flat roof applications for CrossRail Tilt. We'll get into that a little bit later. We do have a heavier and robust rail, which is the 48XL. Sorry about the cutoff there on the text. Got to get that fixed next time. And then for larger ground mount systems, or for even flush attached systems, we offer our CrossRail 80, which is the tallest and most robust profile that we offer. So across the system, we offer integrated grounding with our rail components. We also offer a lot of wire management features where you can actually put your wire into the open channel of this rail. I like to call our X line, actually it has more of like a Y profile to it. So you can fit all of your wires inside. You can fit most of your solar panel components inside as well, including those MC4 connectors when you want to. It is available in 166 inch lengths, just underneath 14 feet. And then we also have 180 inch length for our heavier profile rails. So we built this system with a lot of versatility across multiple different projects that you're going to encounter. We of course have our standard flush attached dual rail option where you put 2 rails down and then fasten the module down right flush attached to either a comp shingle roof or a tile roof. We do offer the option of actually having a shared rail with the same exact rail with only the addition of 1 component, which is called our add-on. And that's applicable to comp shingle roofs. It's applicable to standing seam metal as well. And then we do offer a mounting equipment for trapezoid metal. And we do have a ballasted system and the ground mount, of course, like I spoke of earlier. But the product we're going to be highlighting today is our tilt up there on the bottom left. So the CrossRail Tilt Up. The advantages of this system are actually the return on investment that you get with actually using our rail equipment. Apologize for the leaf blower out there, guys. Everywhere I go, there just happens to be a leaf blower sometimes. So with that said, sorry about that. So with the CrossRail Tilt Up system, the options that you get the flexibility of actually using the rail itself as the substructure for tilting it with multiple different degrees. We offer 7-degree, 10-degree, and 15-degree tilts. I have a sample behind me so I can kind of show you a little bit closer with the camera, but let's go ahead and go over it. So this sample that I've built this morning actually is a mock-up of the actual tilt system itself. As you can see here, we have our incline support right here in the front, and this is where we mount our horizontal rails on top, where we can put our modules across the row. We also have this rear leg assembly right here, which actually gives us our finished degree. With our CrossRail, with the base design tool today, when we design this for you, we're going to be able to show you how to actually measure these cuts, because we're going to give you a printout of how to achieve this degree based upon the size of your module. The only accessories that you actually need with this system to build this are the rail itself, maybe left over from some of your projects that you've already installed on a comp shingle or metal roof or a tile roof. And then you can actually save those clippings or those end cuts to become this rear leg for the actual support of the tilt of the system itself. The other component that you actually have with the CrossRail Tilt is the tilt up assembly kit right here, which mounts to that rear leg. And this is where it connects to the actual downslope rail. You'll notice here that it has a slotted hole for more adjustability. So we all know that job site conditions aren't always perfect. So you're going to run into situations where you're going to need the adjustability. We went ahead and thought of that situation when it does occur. So we made sure that this is a slotted hole, and the holes here on the bottom of the tilt assembly kit are round holes to receive those T-bolts. Very fast and easy to design this system. It all fastens together basically like in a Rafter set. And then your L-foot mounts to the front. So how do we mount the rails across the actual system? Well, we use this product right here called a climber. This climber actually fastens in to the T-track of the rail. I'll take this cap off for you. You can see that it fastens into the T-track right there. And then we use a bolt to actually engage into the channel of the rail down below. So it mounts into the bottom channel, and then it grabs onto the T-track. So no T-bolts and L-feet needed on this portion right here, because you can use this climber. You also have an adjustment downslope and upslope of the rail. So I hope you guys can see this pretty clearly. I can actually go to the next slide and we can go over the components a little bit more in depth. So like we had said, you have the rail itself. When you're spanning rails across the system, you want to make sure that you use our rail connector, which is also structural. And then in the middle there, this is that tilt connector assembly right here. This ships with the T-bolts inside, enough T-bolts to connect it to the rear leg assembly. We offer two of these climber sets. One is for our larger rails like we talked about. This is our lighter duty rail, which is the 44X. And we offer a climber that's specifically for that. Because that rail was a little bit lower in profile, we decided to make a different part number for that so it engages differently. For all of your module clamping, of course, we offer our top-down clamps. These are fully adjustable and spring-loaded. Oh, let me go back real quick. Spring-loaded ends and mids. These are very versatile. You can actually fit wire in between here when needed. And then we also still made it compatible with our Yeti hidden end clamp. We offer our slotted L-foot for a lot of adjustability. And we do have a flat roof attachment that is made by us called our TFoot X. I don't have a sample with me today. I actually gave that away to one of the contractors I was working with so he could give it a test fit on one of the projects he's working on. Last but not least, our grounding lug right here. This is actually a K2 Systems grounding lug. So we optimized this for our product, and you guys should see these at your distributors, or if you're not already installing them. So that's a quick rundown on some of the components with the CrossRail system. And here's actually some live installs that we've had the opportunity to be on the job site with these projects here. This particular system that you're looking at is actually done with our black anodized rail. And you'll notice here that on the L-foot, towards the bottom here, you'll notice that it's connected to a post system. So I did say that we already had our flat roof attachment. The next slide I'll show you will go a little bit more in depth on the capacity of the TFoot and its applications. But here's a great image of the actual installation process of the CrossRail Tilt system. The modules are laid down on top of these rails that are going left, right. And you can even see that they mounted their optimizers onto the top rail, and one grounding lug, since we do have integrated grounding, one grounding lug per continuous row of modules. The TFoot X, this is new and added to our catalog. I think this guy's just about over a year old, but it's still new to us in the industry. Flat roof attachment. This is compatible with your ChemLink chem curbs, which is that circular surround that you see at the base right there, and that's actually filled with a sealant from ChemLink, so it actually doesn't ever harden, and it actually rejects water, and there's no way for water to actually intrude into the penetrations there. 6-inch standoff, Plenty of adjustability built into the actual TFoot. And then here's a bigger exploded version of that actual install with the TFoot used. You can see here that the TFoot is in line with those incline supports that go up the rail and create that tilt. Great photo to reference if you have if you're interested in how the system actually goes together. So I just wanted to make that a real brief refresher on the actual system itself and the components that are involved in the CrossRail Tilt. And now we're going to jump over to base and get real in depth with how to design a system of this nature. So let me just go ahead and exit out of this, move this on over. And if you want to get to our design tool, it's right here on our website. Dakota and her team have recently redone our website, so you notice that navigating it might be a little bit easier. We've put everything up front for you so you can find it a lot easier. To go over any product information of the CrossRail system or our ballast system, flat roof, our full menu of roof attachments, just go on products. And if you have questions about CrossRail Tilt Up, just click on CrossRail Tilt Up, it'll take you there. If you do want to get to our design tool, you can click on K2 Base up here at the top. If you're already signed in, if you're brand new to us and you want to find out about our software options, we have it right here under service. So this is where you can actually get in touch with some of our team with technical support. You can always contact us here and you can get in touch with us very quickly. This will also let you know where your actual sales reps are. I'm up here, so just go to find your sales rep and you can find all of our team members here. There I am right there, and there's the territory I manage. So just a real quick drive through our website. Let's get right over to base and show you guys how to find the design tool if you're not already signed up for it. So if I go to service, you'll notice that we have overview, technical support, base, online design tool, feature your project. If you have a project of yours in the past and you've used our equipment, we'd love to see it. We'd love to engage with you more, get an opportunity to find out if there's improvements we can make on our system to support you more in the future. We do have our Basecamp Education Center. This is where you can find a lot of our past webinars if you're not already finding them on YouTube and other outlets. You'll notice here that there's two design tools here. There is the base online design tool, which is the one we're going over today. And then there's our legacy CrossRail design tool. This is our older model, the CrossRail design tool it's a legacy design tool. I'm going to go ahead and click on the base splash page really quick. And this will take you right to all of the information about the base online tool. Plenty of reference videos here. We're actually on our third version of this tool, and it's constantly getting critiqued and getting improved every single quarter. We're taking in more information from our user base and making sure we can make this tool the best that it can be for you guys. If you want to get started right away, just click on Start Base. I already have a login, so when I click this, it'll take me immediately to the tool. If you do want to just sign up for us, just go ahead and get Start Base, and then there's a small form that we have you sign up for. Not a lot of information, just your email, a password that you want for the design tool, and then that goes to our team to authenticate that. You'll get an email back asking you to accept the conditions of using our tool, and then therefore you'll be set and ready to go. So let's go ahead and click Base and get off the splash page. So give me a second here. It already recognized that it was me. Of course, we have just a quick overview of what we're actually looking at here. So we do have what's called a dashboard that it lands you on, and this lands you on how many projects you're working on, how many you've completed, and how many have realized maybe they've been abandoned or maybe they've just been deferred, and we're going to pick them up later on in the future. So right now it looks like I have 91 in process and I need to get more over to my completed side. But let's go ahead and just go over the interface itself. So we do have our main menu on the left-hand side. So this is where you can actually go over a new project, open project, or you can save. You can even download a project from anybody else on your team who's, let's say, they've designed a project and there's some critiquing that they'd want you to do, or vice versa. I actually use this with Brendan and Luz a lot. We exchange projects back and forth and more of the time it's me exchanging a project to Luz to have her expertise on. So, so with that said, we do have our tutorial YouTube videos here, our newsletter sign up is here, and then the preference for your account. If you do want to switch the language of your account, we offer dozens of different languages to modify. So if you do have any questions, yeah, Dakota just put up a prompt. Go ahead and type them in the chat. We'll be able to support those questions later on at the end. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to show you a project that we already had here, and then I'd like to show you how we designed it. So this particular project was called the Belvedere Apartments. This is a CrossRail Tilt Up System. We were able to get this right to the middle of the actual roof here. So let's go ahead and go over how we actually designed this project. So I'm going to actually go to this address right here and how to get started on building a project. I'm going to click New Project. We're going to, so right from the beginning, the tool asks me what particular address would I like to install on. So I happen to know the address already. So it's 14 Donegall Court in Pleasant Hill. This is up here in Northern California. It looks like this project already has some solar on top of it actually, but our goal is to actually put some solar on this southeast building right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on new project name, and it's going to be called, let's call it the CrossRail Tilt, what was it, the Belvedere Apartments? Belvedere Apartments, got it. So, and the other thing that we can actually do is you can move this this landing marker right here. If you double click on the building you actually want to install on, it'll save it to that specific building. So let's double click it right there. Now when I refresh, it'll always bring me back to this marker. So we're going to do CrossRail Tilt. We're going to do Belvedere Apartments. And this relates to our dashboard here, the installation date of when we'd like to get this done. Definitely would like to get this done before the end of October. We do have a design method of ASCE 710 right now. We are importing 716 into our tool very soon, but this is gonna, the 710 standards will delineate what our actual roof zones are and what the cantilevers of our equipment are allowable. I am the author of this equipment, and let's say that our customer just happens to be ABC Solar. You can put any information that you want in here, emails, contact phone numbers, and if your customer database does use a hashtag, let's say like in Northern California, hashtag Northern California projects, you can place that there. You'll also notice with the tool here up at the top that it constantly is moving us towards summary. So now that I've filled out this preliminary information about the project, it's allowing me to go to roof as soon as I hit continue. So it's actually now updated and let us know that we're actually right where that marker that I left there. I can zoom in a little bit further on the property and kind of narrow in exactly where I'd like to design this array. So let's see if we can get as close as we can. Looks like this particular part will only let us within a couple 100 feet a satellite image. And I'm going to go ahead and click add right here. Now it's going to ask me some information about the building. So this is going to ask us some architectural information about the building. What type of building are we actually dealing with? Are we dealing with a gabled roof? Are we dealing with a single monoslope roof, or more of a very minimal pitch, almost flat roof? Or are we dealing with a hipped roof? Well, we can tell right from image right here, and mostly what our CrossRail system is designed to do is install on flat roofs. We do have the option of drawing a rectangle or a polygon. I'm going to go ahead and click rectangle because this particular project is definitely a rectangle for this profile. And it's going to ask me what type of roof covering is this. Since we did select flat roof, it's going to omit the metal roofing, the tile roofing, the corrugated metal, and the composition shingle. It's basically just going to give me the option of a membrane, gravel, or concrete roof. Membrane being like a vinyl or a TPO or any kind, or even any kind of like rolled on synthetic material. I'm going to name this part of this particular roof, Roof 1 Southeast. So we know that that's the southeast side of the room of the actual building. What if we want to design multiple arrays on this building, like on this west side over here, the southwest side? So we're going to actually draw the array on this actual rectangle over here. Oops, looks like I misspelled southeast. Sorry about that. I'll go back to that and fix that. So at this particular point, you'll notice that my cursor turned into a actual crosshair, and this will allow me to draw that rectangle in that field of where I'd like to place the solar. So let's go ahead and zoom in just a little bit more, see if we can get really close. And I'm going to click here. Oops, zoomed out. Sorry about that. We go ahead and just move this over here. Sorry about that zoom out. I'm going to just redraw this real quick. Sorry about that. I got a little too anxious there on the actual zooming in and zooming out. Going to have to start from scratch here. Sorry about that. So let's go right back to roof, satellite image. Zoom right back in. Sorry about the. I have might need to change the batteries in my my mouse here. So let's go right back to adding the roof in. We selected flat roof. We're going to draw a rectangle, and it is an even membrane. And this gives me the chance to make sure I spell southeast right. So go ahead and put it here, and let's zoom in a little bit further. I'm going to go ahead and click from this west side of the building and drag it all the way to the east. And we're just right in there with about a 96-foot horizontal line across the building. I'm going to snap over here, and then we're going to drag it up to the vertical line, or to the north-south. It's just about 34.5 feet. So from here, this is marked out the outline of my actual building. We know that this building is definitely over 10 foot, so I'm going to put 10 foot and the roof pitch being about 3 degrees. Now, since we know that we're going to be doing a CrossRail tilt system here, we're going to actually select fully anchored, because all of our tilt systems that we design come with you have the option of using our L-foot and any type of roof penetration, or you can use our TFoot X. So I'm going to omit fastening with ballast, because the tilt system is not designed for ballast, and I'm going to highlight fully anchored. So from here, we're going to be able to continue, and I'm going to be able to actually highlight some of these obstructions that are on the roof. So obstructions are always going to be on some portion of the building, whether it's a plumbing vent, a roof attic vent, any kind of utility equipment that's ran across the structure. So we have that feature of drawing any obstructions that you want to draw on the building. So I'm going to go ahead and say, look, looks like those are little squares or rectangles. And I'm actually going to pair these together as kind of the same obstruction. So I'm going to go ahead and click add. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit further, and I'm going to click here to the left. It looks like that's just about 6.5 feet. And then I'm going to click up on my north-south and just about 2 feet there. Now, instead of drawing each and every single one of these, we can see that there's 2 pair across here. We're going to go ahead and hit our copy button. And this will just copy this exact profile, and I can drag it in line with the rest of these roof vents that are on the roof. Oh, I'm going to make sure that I click roof integrated. They're not some standing obstruction. And I'm going to go ahead and click copy. And I got the same size obstruction, and now I can just move it right over to that obstruction. And I'm going to click one more for this guy over here. Excellent. I'm going to take the chance to save real quick, make sure that I save the stage that I'm at. You'll notice that the next line that is next part of the tool and sequence is design. So that's going to actually bring me to my modules and the type of racking that we want to use for the project. So let's click continue. Any remarks you want to make about these roof vents, you can put here. You can just call them roof vents, or if there's any technical information you want to add there. Let's go ahead and move to the design portion of this, and let's select the modules that we'd like to use. We offer a full library of modules, probably everything that could be put in this library. It's constantly being updated as technology continues to further advance and more module manufacturers come out. We gather that information from those market databases, and we implement it into this library. So we try to capture as much information as we possibly can. I'm going to use a module that I'm particularly familiar with, which comes from Hanwha Q cells, and that's the one that we wanted to deploy to this project. The particular wattage that we were interested in for this one was the G5 series at 365 watts. So when you click any of those modules, we take, like I said, we take into that data into our library here. So we're able to get the full dimensions of the actual module itself. This information is actually very vital to the separation of our arrays and our rows across the system. So knowing what these are, not just the height of the module for clamping, not just the width of the module for cantilevers, but knowing all of this information is vital to us understanding that we can provide value to you in the software, so you can actually, we can understand what size the system would accurately be portrayed across the tool. Let's go ahead and click continue. This takes us to the option of what system do we want to use? Well, we wanted to demo the tilt system, so now it's finally here. Click CrossRail Tilt Up. Right there, this is going to ask you if you'd like to draw the array across this field, or do you just want it to immediately fill up this rectangle that we drew? I particularly like to use module array because I can get a little bit more the placement on inside of the roof itself. I have a little bit more control over. So I'll go ahead and just click module array. It's already noticed that we want to have an elevated system instead of a parallel or flush system because we selected tilt up single row. I'm going to go ahead and design this project for portrait because that's going to be the best density we can get for this particular project. But you can toggle between landscape and portrait on the next actual page as well. So you can see that the tool here is ushering us over to our results and summary finally. So we're almost done. I'm going to click add, and it's going to ask me, well, where would you like it drawn? You'll notice that my cursor is now turned into the crosshair again, and this arrow here is actually downslope of the roof. So from here, I can actually draw the rectangle of how many modules I think I'd like to have in there. So let's go ahead and just click it from left to right. I like to work in that direction. So let's try and fit as many as we can in that region right there. So what the tool just did is it recognized that we drew those obstructions right there. So what it decided to do is it optimized for where we can place modules and where we can't place modules based upon that field that I drew. So what we can do at this stage too is I can also, well, there's a couple things going on here actually. The tool is telling us where our rail break would be. So if this is a maximum of 60 feet, it's actually telling us where that row is going to stop and where we need to start a new row. That's what that yellow line is kind of telling us across here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten this up to make that one continuous array, or 3 continuous arrays. And then what I'd like to do to the array is I'd like to actually fit it in between those obstructions. So I'm going to actually move it right there. And I think we can actually get all of the density we want. Perfect. So now we have 3 continuous rows of, I believe, 19 modules. Let's take a look. 60 modules total. So we have 20 modules across 3 different rows of 20. This is exactly what we wanted to design in this particular building. This project was calling for a 20 kilowatt system. Looks like we were able to get that up to 21.9. We're also able to actually change the tilt orientation of these modules. So let's say we wanted to change it from 19 degrees to 17. Oops. So this will actually show up in our assembly plan as well. And this will show up with how we're supposed to cut the rail. So when you're able to decide what degree you actually want here, the module inclination, it'll show up in your actual exported report, and it'll tell you what to actually cut the rail at to achieve this degree. Why don't we leave that at 15 degrees here for that particular project? Miguel, I wanted to ask you really quick here in regard to our service corridor. I know that there was something very specific we wanted to make sure we informed everybody about. I think it was actually, I believe it was the row spacing is what we wanted to make sure we highlighted for everybody. And I think that attributes to this walkway in between this service corridor. Miguel, if you have an opportunity, go ahead.
Yeah, sure, Nick. Do you hear me? Thank you. Yes, first of all, we have the field that is row spacing. That field, it refers that the distance from the beginning of the first row of the model to the beginning of the next row of the model. And below that field, we have the value of service corridor, and that is the value of the space between the rows, exactly the space between you can walk. By default, base uses the minimum space to avoid shading, but if you want more space, you can add it by increasing the row spacing. Yeah, so that's the meaning of those two fields.
What I'd like to do real quick is I want to modify that so we can actually execute what Miguel just explained to you. So I'm going to take this row spacing from 8.87 feet, and we're going to change it to 9 and 9.25. You'll notice here that the service corridor has opened up all the way to 3 feet. So that means that you'll be able to walk through that corridor of the array, and you'll have 3 feet on either side of your shoulder for any kind of serviceability, wire management and serviceability are a big deal in our industry. So making sure that you have actual room to do that is crucial. And we've been able to make that adjustment to this array by just adjusting it at that portion. And we still have our obstructions locked in place. So I'm gonna go ahead and click save. And we're gonna go ahead and go over to the hit continue. Oh, the last, before I leave, I wanna make sure that we go ahead and click the clamps that we would like to have are black. These modules are black, but the racking underneath is we're going to use as the aluminum finish. Let's go ahead and click continue. This is gonna tell us to break every 20 modules. We've done exactly that. That's what that perpendicular yellow line was showing us. Everything here is in good order, so let's go ahead and click continue. It looks like, oh, I did find a real quick bug here. Normally the tool will analyze the historical weather information for this particular zip code using this map, but it looks like it was unable to find that. Maybe I put in a zip code that was a little bit harder to read. I happen to know that the ultimate wind speed in this particular territory is 110. So I'm gonna go ahead and manually enter that in. I think we're gonna get that fixed for you guys pretty soon here. And we're gonna go ahead and click continue. This is an area of Northern California where there is absolutely no snow. If there is, it's a very rare occurrence. After this, now the tool is actually calculating up everything we would need. And the great news is it shows you kind of a general assembly of what is actually happening here. So from the top down, if I micro in as much as I can here, you'll see here that the tool has actually shown us this assembly right here. So it's showing us where the rear leg is and where the front leg is based on the downslope of the roof and the array of where it's tilted. So that's what we're looking at right now in this diagram. The other thing that we get to see are the roof zones as well. So as you can see here, I'm actually encroaching on this roof zone right here. This is kind of a dangerous uplift area. So what we might want to do is shift this array over to the right-hand side. So I'm going to do that for you very quick. I'm just going to go ahead and click save, and I'm going to go back to design, and I'm going to shift the array over to the east side just a couple feet so we can get out of that dangerous roof zone. Here we go. Now let's go ahead and continue on. We still have our same corridor is saved. Our spacing is saved. We just took the array and moved it to the east a couple feet so we could get out of that dangerous roof zone. All of the data I already inputted is still saved. And let's go ahead and check that roof zone one more time. And look, we're in the green. We're out of this red zone right here, and we're in a great spot. We do have the ability to select different lengths of rail here in this particular part of the project. I'm going to go ahead and click our 48X in mill finish. We're going to be using our slotted L foot, and the rails are right here. So there we are, 48X in mill finish. We have a couple more accessories we want to use. If you want to put in our end caps, it'll calculate the end caps you need. If you want to put in our module level electronic hardware, the MLPE kit for microinverters or for power optimization. I'm going to make sure that that's checked. If there's any other wire management that you'd like to click on there. We used to offer a little sleeve that would conceal the color of the rail, but looks like that's auto-populating still. And I'm going to actually show you why the MLP kit's actually very important to make sure we have that. So we have rapid shutdown, but we also want to know how many power optimizers we're going to be able to need for this project. Looks like everything's going in order here, and we're going to be able to click continue and get to our ultimate bill of materials right here. So we have all of our static information about the project itself. We have the amount of rails we're going to need, 48 rails. We're going to need 24 rail connectors. We're going to need L-foot, our actual attachments L-foot. So you'll notice that the amount of legs that we're going to need are going to require L-feet as well. And the amount of tilt connectors are already populated here, CrossRail Tilt Connector Kit. So everything is populated here, including the hardware that we're going to need for the actual system. Let's go ahead and click. We have multiple options for getting this bill of materials exported. You can even make amendments to it here on Edit BOM. Let's say, for instance, you want to add a couple more rails just in case. Let's just say you want to add 49 rails, or just keep it at straight 48. Like I said, the tool is calculating how much rail you should have to cut. So let's go ahead and show you where that actual report comes from. Let's click Generate Report. We would definitely like to have the project data assembly plan. There's no ballast on this project, so let's go ahead and omit that from the report. Our full results, structural analysis, and bill of materials. Click Generate. And then right after this, I'll be able to demo our K2 Plus option for inverter design and system analysis. So header page, all of the static information about the project, including the customer and who actually designed the system, full information about the property here. It is a Class B structure, which is an urban suburban inhabitants, Class 2 risk category for urban and suburban inhabitants. Roof material is stipulated as concrete. I think we got to get that changed. It's actually going to be a TPO roof. Our module information is here as well, but let's go right into the meat of the actual report here, which gives us the information on how to cut the rail. So we actually take this into consideration for you so you can understand what rail needs to be cut. So component A is actually our incline or our full perpendicular support across here. So it's telling us that we need to cut 62 of them. Well, how many do we need to cut? That's a great question. So if we go to the bill of materials here, you'll notice that all of these have to be connected to your tilt assembly leg, right? So as many of these are the same count of this, and we're going to be updating the system to do this for you, but that's a quick just a tool to or reminder to know the amount of assembly kits that you're going to need are the amount of incline cuts and leg cuts that you're going to do. So the dimension is 62 inches, and the tilt assembly right here, the CrossRail assembly, where did it go here? Not the the connector set. Nope, that's not what I need. Rail connector, the connector set right here, the 505. So we're going to need to cut 36 of those 62-inch pieces. Sound good? And then if I go back to the BOM real quick, where did that go? Or here it is. So as far as the legs go, which is component number B or component B at 17 inches, that's the same exact amount that I'd have to cut as well. 36 at 17 inches as well. So hopefully that's pretty explains a couple questions on that, but we'll leave this on screen so we can answer some questions later. The other thing I wanted to go over is, of course, this gives you a full BOM down at the bottom. You have your layout to take to the project. You have your layout with roof zones to take to the project, and it actually shows the actual orientation of where these actually go. Your finished assembly here. And then, of course, towards the end, we have a full BLM and printout of what you need to deploy to the job site. Back to the tool. So we also have the ability with Base here is to take this exact same array, this array that we designed, and push this over our API bridge to any of these inverter manufacturers for your electrical layout. It's right here under K2 plus inverter design. And I'll demo this very quickly so we can answer some questions in the end. It looks like we only have 10 minutes left, so I'll make this very worth your while. With that said, I already have a login with SolarEdge, so I do recommend you're signed into it already so you can export the project over. I'm going to go back to our design here, over here, and I'm going to click SolarEdge. We have the option of Fronius, GoodWe, Coastal, and SMA. I prefer to use the one from SolarEdge because it does have the most options. So what it's doing now is it's pulling all the data from our report, azimuth, the height of the property, the module information, the type of system we're installing. Everything is being pushed over to the SolarEdge design tool right now. So now you can see there Cross Tilt Belvedere Apartments. And now all of the information of our project has now been pushed over to the SolarEdge design tool. You can see the project information here at the top, knows the address. You can get way in depth with 3D modeling this property, which we can do later on a different webinar. But I wanted to kind of show you that this API bridge is built in here for you. We've had this partnership with SolarEdge for almost 3 years now, two and a half years now. And let's go right to the electrical layout of the actual project. So in electrical design, this is where it actually gives us the opportunity to, if you want to manually draw the string yourself, you have the freedom to do so. Let me move this whole thing out of the way. I prefer to use the automation to just go ahead and design the string for me. It is telling us that we're going to need 2 inverters for this particular project, and it does show us that how many optimizers we're going to need and the actual string orientation. Let's go ahead and click generate. And I'm going to go ahead and summary report. And then after this, it'll show us a simulation of what the actual generated electricity would be out of this particular project. There's the tilt and everything we would need to see. And here is the actual generation of the project. Looks like we're going to be able to get exactly what the client wanted. The client wanted over 35 megawatt hours annually. And with the system that we just designed today in Base, we'll be able to achieve that and analyze the system over SolarEdge. And at any moment in time when we save this profile and we do decide to use SolarEdge on the project, we will be able to commission the system from this same profile. So let's go right back into our tool here, and just wanted to make sure people had some vision on it, that the flexibility we have with Base and other applications. So I think we have some questions in the chat here. So want to make sure we had an opportunity in the last 8 minutes here to address this.
Thank you, Nick. Yes, we do have a couple questions. Let's start with Kyle. He asked, can you set the direction of the rafters on a flush mounted system? We have an old unique structure that has rafters going left to right, not up to down. Can you set rafter direction in Base to determine the downward loading PSF?
Ooh, I know that we can draw the rectangle of the actual roof to the downslope. So how that the way that Base designs the array is by you telling the tool which direction is south. So it's taking that as your rafter orientation being, I would say 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So if you switch this orientation, it'll change the orientation of the rafters. So I hope that answers your question on that. It is a little bit more, particular when you do have a project that has rafters that run left, right, and or purlins that run left, right, purlins joists, whatever we want to call them. So yeah, you have the ability of changing the orientation of the rafters, but it's also changing the orientation of the roof itself. Yes, purlins. I've run into those as well. So, so hopefully that answers your questions on the direction of the rafters. You can actually change the separation of the rafters as well. So say, for instance, you're dealing with a project that has like rafters that are like 80 inches on center opposed to 24 or 48 inches on center. So you can actually change that, and that's over here. Not there, but I believe it's over here. I wonder if we actually, for flat roof, I don't think we've updated that to change the rafter alignment in the flat roof application. It's only for the, I believe it's the gabled roof only. So that's something we do need to get an update for you so you can change the rafter separation on flat roof.
Awesome. And then Fernando was asking, is the tool now supporting modules like the Jinko JKM-465M and the JKM-535M, the longer modules?
Let me take a look real quick here. Why don't we go to, let's change the modules on this particular one. So let's go to Jinko. Jinko Holdings. And what wattage was that module?
It was JKM-465M.
We do not have that updated yet. I think that's actually in our push for UL to make sure we have the loading testing for that particular module. That is a very large module. So we're working on that right now to get that in there. We do offer dozens and dozens of them, but the 465, is it just a 465, or what are the last digits?
465, and then there's the 535.
Is it any of these Cheetah series here?
No, I think it'd be the one right after that.
Yeah, it'd probably be the one right after that. We're definitely always pursuing more UL listings and load testings, and as those get confirmed, they're getting uploaded into the system. So bear with us for that. It still takes a little bit longer to get the frame samples from the manufacturers and to get them tested, but we are actually pursuing, we do push to UL, I believe, bi-monthly. So we come up with an entire list of new modules, and a lot of the module manufacturers actually do their due diligence and reach out to us first as well. So it is a reciprocal relationship where we have to get information from them and they have to provide hardware to us. So we are working on getting some newer modules into the system. It's always being pursued. So please bear with us. It just takes a little bit longer to get it finished.
Cool. And the last question that I see here is, can the tilt up solution be used on flat roofs or very low pitched metal roofs?
Yes, it can actually. It all just, it comes down to what jurisdiction you're actually installing on. So we have seen tilt systems be applied to trapezoid metal roofing. We've seen tilt systems deployed to standing seam as well. It really depends on what the jurisdiction of where you're installing allows for those particular types of installs. In many cases, you might have to get a structural engineering letter from that particular area to just from that area and from that building, or an architect that worked on that building or has had the chance to operate on that building, so they can actually see if the roof could actually handle upsloping the array on that particular metal roofing. But it has been done. It's definitely not a no. It's not a game over. It just has to be confirmed that the building can actually the roofing material can actually handle that kind of loading and that kind of uplift.
Awesome. I think that was all the questions we had.
Excellent. Well, I really appreciate everybody joining us today. It looks like we're going to end it on time. Dakota, thank you for always planning these and getting these scheduled and getting the entire team together. Miguel, Brendan, Luz, thank you for your time today. And all of our guests, thank you for joining us today. We built these platforms for you to use. Please reach out to us if you have questions on how to use this. If you have questions on how to make sure that your SolarEdge account and your base API bridge are working. Let us know. We want to make sure that the platform is optimized for your guys' adoption and appreciation. And we truly appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us today, and be well out there. I'm Nick Pack, K2 Systems. You guys know how to get a hold of us. Go to our website, go to the contact button, and you can find us, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you.